Hello everyone, welcome to the channel English Only Zone. I'm Akanksha Sharma. In the last video, we had studied about conjunctions, their types, and the different examples of conjunctions and how to punctuate them. So this video is also of the same topic. Let's move ahead. See, a conjunction is a joining word. We use conjunctions to join two words, phrases, or clauses together to make one long sentence. So, words, phrases, or clauses, anything can be joined with the help of conjunctions to make one long sentence. Okay? So, let's just recall what we have studied in the previous video. We studied about the definition of conjunctions. Then we studied about their types, the coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and the correlative conjunctions. Then we studied how to combine sentences using conjunctions. And the last topic was how to punctuate different sentences with the help of conjunctions. So today we will be studying more examples of how to combine sentences in conjunctions. So the first is if we use conjunctions such as if and as though. Let's first understand where to use as if and as though. These are used to talk about an imaginary situation or a situation that may not be true but is likely possible. See, they are used to talk about an imaginary situation, any situation which we just imagine. Or they are also used when we talk about a situation that may not be true. It may be false also, but it can likely be possible also. Let's understand this with the help of an example. The first is, it looks as if they are in a shock. See, it may or may not be true. It looks as if they are in a shock. So it may be true or may not be true, but it can be likely possible. Yes? So we can use as if there. The another example is, it looks as though you don't know cooking. It looks as if you don't know cooking. Both can be used. Okay? It may be true or it may not be true. You may be knowing cooking or you may not be knowing cooking. Both the situations can be true. But one thing important here is, these two words as if and as though, they commonly follow verbs such as look and feel. Maximum of the times it has been noticed that these two words, they follow the verbs such as look or feel. So you have to keep this point in mind. Now let's move on to another conjunction, that is using whereas. Okay? See, whereas comes in the beginning of the subordinate clause. It is used to show the difference between two things. We have already studied what is the subordinate clause in the previous video. A subordinate clause is the clause that is dependent upon the main clause. Yes? So it is used to show the difference between two things. Let's understand it with the help of an example. I like to eat mangoes, whereas my brother likes to eat guava. So here we are showing the difference between the likeness of two people. The another example is, the book with yellow cover is good, whereas the book in blue cover is bad. So here you have to keep one point in mind, that it is used to show the difference between any two different types of things. Okay? Now whereas can also be used in the beginning of the sentence before the main clause. So it can also be used in the beginning of the sentence. How it can be used? Let's see with the help of an example. Whereas Kashmir has very cold winters, the winters of South are mild. So here we have used whereas in the starting only. And remember, if we use whereas in the starting of the sentence, in the beginning of the sentence, you have to put a comma after the first part of the sentence. See, as in this example it is given, whereas Kashmir has very cold winters, one part is finished. Put a comma and then you have to start with the second part of the sentence. That is, the winters of South are mild. So I hope you must have understood where you have to put comma. See, if you see in the previous on the previous slide, you can see that I have not put comma where I have written whereas in the middle of the sentence. Okay, but whenever we write whereas in the beginning, we have to put a comma after the first part gets completed. Okay, now let's move on to another conjunction, that is provided that. See, it means on the condition that. Provided that means on the condition that. So here, whenever you have to give any condition, you can use the word provided that. You may also remove that. See, only the word provided can also be used to combine two sentences. But the meaning remains the same. If we remove that then also the meaning remains the same. Let's understand with the help of examples. The first is, you may go to the trip provided that you don't misbehave. See, you may go on the trip provided that you don't misbehave. Here, it is a condition. You may go on the trip on the condition that you don't misbehave. Okay? And let's see the second example. You can drive a car provided you have a driving license. Here, we have omitted the word that. So, without the use of word that also, the sentence is giving the correct meaning. You can drive a car provided you have a driving license. Or you can also use provided that you have a driving license. Similarly, in the first sentence also you can write, you may go on the trip provided you don't misbehave. Okay? So both the types of sentences can be correct. Now let's move on to another conjunction, that is using or rather. It is used to make our expressions more precise or to correct whatever we have said just now. It is used to make our expressions more precise or to correct whatever we have said, whatever we have uttered just now. If we have said something wrong, so we can use rather to correct it. Let's see examples. His daughter is a teacher, or rather a professor. So once I've said his daughter is a teacher, but actually she is not a teacher, she is a professor. So we can say his daughter is a teacher or rather a professor. You must have heard the sentences in which you have there is a use of word. You can say his daughter is a teacher or rather you can say a professor. So you can say is more informal, and if we omit you can say it becomes formal. Let's move on to another example. He lives in a mansion or rather a bungalow. He lives in a mansion, or if we tell more precisely or if we tell more correctly, he lives in a bungalow. Let's move on to next conjunction. Now it is rather than. We have studied just now or rather, and here we have rather than. So there is a difference between the two. This is used to show preferences. The word rather than is used to show preferences, or rather is used to show the correct word, to tell the correct word, or to speak more precisely. But here rather than is used to show the preferences. Would rather also comes in the same category. If we use the word would rather, then also we are showing preferences there. Let's study the examples. The first is, it would be better to opt for humanities rather than science if you want to prepare for civil services. So here the preference is shown here with the help of the word rather than. It would be better to opt for humanities. Humanities is the preference rather than science. So what preference you are giving, the preference you are giving to a thing has to be written in the first part of the sentence, and the thing which is not getting your preference has to be written in the second part of the sentence after rather than. Okay, and no comma has to be put. I want to leave now rather than after an hour. So my preference is to leave right now rather than after an hour. Now using no sooner than. a very common conjunction. It also comes in transformation of sentences also. So understand it very properly. When the second event occurs just after the first event, it is a situation when two events occur at a time, and the second event occurs just after the first, we use the words no sooner than. Okay? No sooner is used for the event which occurred first, and than is used with the event which occurred at the second place. So no sooner is used for the first event and than is used for the second event. Whenever we begin a sentence with a negative word, we use auxiliary verb before the subject. It is true not only in this case, but whenever you begin a sentence with a negative word, you have to use an auxiliary verb before the subject. It is important. Now let's understand the examples. No sooner had I arrived at the station than the train came. No sooner had I arrived at the station than the train came. Now sometimes it happens that you get the sentence in simple past tense, and you have to use the words no sooner than under transformation. So how will you write? You have to convert that simple past tense sentence into past perfect by writing the word had. So the sentence will become, no sooner had I arrived at the station than the train came. Let's see another example. No sooner did we receive the good news than we began to celebrate. Now most of the students get confused in this situation whether to use had or to use did. Okay? Now, it is important to note, whenever we use did in place of had, we have to use the first form of the verb. See, both the situations can be correct. You can write no sooner had, or you can also write no sooner did. But whenever you write did, then you have to use the first form of the verb in the first part of the sentence. Okay? Because with did, we always use first form of the word. So in the example given above, no sooner did we receive. We will not write no sooner did we received. Okay? No sooner did we receive the good news than we began to celebrate. Now in the second part, than is written. We have not written did in the second part. So we can write began here. The second form of the verb can be written here in the second part, but it cannot be written in the first part when we use did in the sentence. I hope you must have understood this. Now using the conjunctions hardly or scarcely when. Hardly or scarcely are used to express the idea same as for no sooner than. It means hardly and scarcely can be used with the event which occurred at the first place, and when can be used with the event which occurred at the second place. Okay? Now examples. Hardly had I reached the station when the train came. Or you can also write no sooner had I reached the station when than the train came. So both the situations can be correct. It depends on the clues or the hints which are given to you by in the paper. Now the second sentence is, scarcely did I reach the station when the train came. Scarcely had can also come, and scarcely did can also come. Now with did, again you have to use the first form of the verb. Scarcely did I reach the station. Or you would have written, scarcely had I reached the station when the train came. With no sooner you have to use than, and with hardly and scarcely you have to use when. Did you get my point? And most important thing here, you do not have to use any comma in any of these types of sentences. With no sooner than also there is no need to put any comma, and with hardly and scarcely when also there is no need to put any comma. Now let's move on to the next conjunction, that is till or until. Most of you get confused in this. They mean when something will begin or end. So till or until, they have the same meaning. They mean when something will begin or end. See, until sounds more formal and till is a bit informal. But both of these can be used in a sentence and both can be termed as correct use of the conjunction. And they both have the same meaning. Examples: the CM will reach until 4 p.m. today. The CM will reach until. Till 4 p.m. the CM will reach. So both the situations, till or until, anything can come. Now, using conjunctions such as such that. It means to the extent that, or it also indicates a condition. The word such that means to the extent that, or it can also indicate a particular condition. Okay, you will be more clear with the use of examples. The first is, my personality is such that I think of this as a great job. So, in the first sentence here, the word to the extent can be put and you can then understand the meaning. My personality is to the extent that I think of this as a great job. I have such a personality that I think that it's a great job for me. The second is, but the circumstances were such that it was time to move on. Now here, such that indicates a condition. It was such a condition that it was time to move on. The condition was such that it was the time to move on. So, such that means to the extent and it also indicates a condition. Now the next is using such as. Such that and such as both have different meaning. See, now you can think upon it. Even a single word can change the meaning of the sentence. Like we have studied or rather than. So both are very much different from each other. Similarly, such as and such that. These two words are also different from each other. Such as is used to give specific examples of something which we are talking about. Such as is used such as like. Like can be used in place of such as. Okay? Examples are, the population in developing countries such as India is growing at a faster rate. We could have written, the population in developing countries like India is growing at a faster rate. But like is not a conjunction. So we have to use the word such as. Okay? Now this sentence can also be written in a different way. Let's see. The population in developing countries, comma, such as India, comma, is growing at a high rate or a faster rate. So why we have put comma in the second sentence and why we have not put comma in the first sentence? Let's study how to punctuate such as. I've taken it as a different topic because it is important for you to understand where you have to put comma with the words such as. See, we do not use a comma when such as is a part of a restrictive clause. Okay? When such as is a part of a restrictive clause, we do not use a comma. Now, example, you can understand with the help of an example what is restrictive clause. Trees such as oak and pine don't grow at this altitude. Trees such as oak and pine don't grow at this altitude. Now, here if we remove the phrase such as oak and pine, there's a phrase such as oak and pine, you remove it from the sentence. Now, which words you are left with? Trees don't grow at this altitude. Now, the sentence is no more true because the trees can grow at different altitudes. Okay. Now, this sentence doesn't, this sentence is actually not true at all the times. Okay. Now, let's see another example. We use a comma when such as is a part of an unrestricted phrase or it is a part of a non-restrictive phrase. Now, what is a non-restrictive phrase? Let's see an example. The developing countries such as India and China are growing at a faster rate. Now, if you remove the phrase such as India and China, then read the sentence. The developing countries are growing at a faster rate. Now, the sentence is true now. Developing countries are growing at a faster rate now. You are getting the full meaning of the sentence. So, here if we remove the phrase such as India and China, then also the meaning will be the same. Here, by putting a comma, we have just given an example. Okay? So, a restrictive phrase is a phrase without which the meaning of the sentence cannot be completed. Okay? But an unrestricted phrase or a non-restrictive phrase is a phrase which, if it is removed from a sentence, the meaning will remain the same. It will not affect the meaning of the sentence. Now, it depends on the situation where you have to put a comma and where you do not have to put. Now, this was the end of the video, and I hope that by this time you must have understood the use of different conjunctions and how to punctuate these different conjunctions, where to put comma and where you do not have to put comma. So if you have understood, if you want, you can give a like to the video, and if you have any confusion, you can write in the comment section. I will surely answer you. Okay, till then, take care.